Have you ever felt that the more you chase after peace, the more chaos seems to follow? Have you ever recited profound spiritual teachings only to feel like you've understood nothing at all? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining me on another journey into the heart of spiritual reflection. Today, we're diving into one of the most quoted yet most misunderstood teachings from Buddhist scripture, the famous line from the Diamond Sutra, "Let the mind rise without attachment." What does it really mean? Why do so many people recite it with confidence, yet live with confusion? And more importantly, how can understanding this single line shift your entire life experience? Let's start with a story. One that isn't found in ancient texts, but in my own life. Years ago, I met a man at a Dharma talk. He was well-read, articulate, and clearly passionate about Buddhist philosophy. He quoted the Diamond Sutra effortlessly, switching between Sanskrit, Chinese, and English. He spoke of emptiness, unattachment, and the illusion of self with conviction and eloquence. But when the talk ended and we had tea together, something strange happened. He began complaining about his wife, his job, his health, his aging parents. There was bitterness in his voice, frustration in his body language. Listened quietly, then gently asked, "But if all things are empty and the self is an illusion, why does this bother you so much?" He paused, blinked, then left nervously. It was in that moment I realized he knew the words, but he hadn't embodied them. And that's where the danger lies. Because "let the mind rise without attachment" is not just a poetic phrase to admire, it's a gateway, mirror, challenge. Let's look at the line carefully. Original Sanskrit conveys something more profound than just "be detached." It speaks of allowing thoughts, emotions, and intentions to emerge without clinging to them as real, fixed, or self-defining. In other words, it doesn't ask us to suppress our mind, it invites us to liberate it. Liberated mind does not mean a blank mind. Means a mind that moves without getting stuck. Have you ever seen a river flowing over rocks? It doesn't resist the rocks, doesn't stop for them, simply moves. That's what this line teaches us. And yet, most of us mistake non-attachment for coldness. We think it means caring less, feeling less, wanting less. But true non-attachment is not indifference. It's not detachment from life. It is freedom within life. Let me share another story. A woman once told me about the death of her dog. He was heartbroken. It had been her companion for 15 years. After he passed, he tried to practice non-attachment. She told herself, "He's gone. Everything is impermanent. Shouldn't cry." And so he didn't. At once. But months later, he began to feel sick. Headaches, anxiety, but deep fatigue he couldn't explain. Finally, in a meditation retreat, he broke down and cried for the first time, not just a few tears. He wept until her whole body trembled. And afterward, he said, "I thought non-attachment meant not grieving, but now I see. It means not clinging to grief, not denying it either, just letting it come and letting it go." That is the heart of this teaching. Let the mind rise. Let thoughts, emotions, and experiences happen. But don't grab them. Don't build your identity around them. Don't turn them into permanent stories. Because when we do, we suffer. You get angry. That's normal. But when you tell yourself, "I am an angry person," you cling. You get rejected. That hurts. But when you say, no one will ever love me again, you cling. You feel inspired. That's beautiful. But when you say, I must feel this way every day or else I failed, you cling. The mind arises. Let it. But let it pass too. There's a teaching in Zen that says, let thoughts come and go, like clouds in the sky. The sky doesn't hold on to the clouds. You are not your thoughts. You are the sky. The clouds can be stormy or sunny, they come and go, but the sky remains open. So how do we practice this? Not just understand it intellectually, but live it. Start small. Notice your reactions. When something pleasant happens, pause, enjoy it, but also whisper to yourself, this too will pass. When something unpleasant happens, feel it and whisper again, this too will pass. We're not numbing yourself, you're witnessing yourself. And in that witnessing, something magical happens. Space opens up. Between the stimulus and your response, a new choice is born. Few years ago, I faced a serious betrayal from someone I trusted. It hurt deeply. My first reaction was rage and shame, and the urge to retaliate. But I remembered the line, let the mind arise without attachment. So I didn't suppress the anger, sat with it, felt its heat in my chest, aimed it, watched it move through my body. And slowly, it changed. Not because I forced it to, but because I stopped feeding it. Stopped believing the story I was wronged, therefore I must hurt them back. Stopped identifying with the victim role. And in that space, a different thought rose, what if this pain is a teacher? From that point forward, everything shifted. Not because the situation changed, but because my relationship to it did. That's what this line is about. It's not about perfection. It's about perspective. You often hear the term mindfulness, but forget that it's not about controlling the mind, it's about meeting it with clarity. And clarity only comes when we stop grabbing every thought like it's gospel truth. I once heard a monk describe thoughts as mental weather. You wouldn't define yourself by yesterday's rain. Why define yourself by today's anxiety? You see, the problem isn't that the mind moves. The problem is that we think it's supposed to be still. But the Buddha never said, stop thinking. He said, see through your thoughts. Recognize them as temporary, conditional, dependent on causes. The mind arises. That's natural. But freedom begins when you stop mistaking the scenery for your home. I want to invite you to try a simple exercise. Next time you feel overwhelmed, pause. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Then ask, what am I believing right now? Is it true? Is it permanent? Is it who I really am? Chances are, the answer is no. That moment of inquiry, that space, is the doorway to non-attachment. Let the mind arise without clinging is to let life move through you without leaving scars. It's not about being untouched by life. It's about being untethered by it. So many people say, I just want peace. But peace doesn't mean silence. Peace means not being a prisoner of every thought that passes through your head. Peace is not the absence of storms, it's the trust that you can remain centered, no matter the weather. So today, I invite you to stop chasing stillness and start embracing awareness. Watch your mind. Let it rise. Let it fall, like waves on the ocean. And know that beneath it all, you are the ocean, not the wave. Thank you for joining me today. If this video sparked a new understanding for you or helped you reflect on your own experience, please share it in the comments. What does letting the mind rise without attachments mean to you? Have you misunderstood this teaching before? What has changed in your life since learning to observe your thoughts? Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and consider becoming a member to support more deep dive content like this. Thank you for watching.